Everyone knows that 2025 is the year of Grand Theft Auto 6, Doom the Dark Ages, Ghost of Yotei, and so many other AAA heavy hitters. But with all the focus perhaps rightly being placed on these enormous releases, we thought we'd take a look at some of the upcoming titles that seem to be slipping under the radar. First up is one you very possibly heard of, but might not know is releasing this year. Of course, this might have changed, but the last we heard on the release date for Judas was March 2025 at the latest. Now that deadline is rapidly approaching, but even with a delay, it's still highly likely that the spiritual successor to the BioShock franchise being headlined by its creator could come out this year. Despite its apparently closely looming launch, marketing for this title has been pretty slow, so if you haven't heard of it, allow me to catch you up. Judas is a narrative single-player FPS set on a disintegrating starship. Surprisingly little is known about this game, but it looks to feature some choice and immersive sim elements. Though one thing is clear, and that's my excitement for this title. Judas is definitely one of my most anticipated games of 2025.
Moving on to another game you might have heard of but I've almost certainly forgotten, and that's Mouse PI for Hire. This is the hand-drawn FPS in the style of Steamboat Willie that went absolutely viral around a year ago. And despite proof of concept games like this often turning out to be absolutely nothing, the debut title from the developer Fumi Games is hoping to break the trend with its release date set for sometime in 2025. As fans of Cuphead, we really enjoy this art style, and with the promise of black and white visuals and a jazz-fueled soundtrack, we're sure this will match the unique feeling that we got from that game. I also love what I've seen in terms of enemy variety and boss battles, as well as their incredibly creative designs. I'm really hoping that everything else comes together, as this could not only be an enjoyable game, but also something new, and I feel like we don't get to say that enough when we talk about releases.
However, that label can also be applied to our next title, which is Baby Steps, a literal walking simulator that has you putting one foot in front of the other to traverse a variety of challenging landscapes. It's being made by the creator of Getting Over It, Bennett Foddy, so if there's one thing you should expect from this title, it's pure unbridled rage. Its Steam description promises a fully dynamic onesie soilage system and a lengthy trek up a mountain-sized mountain, so try not to take it too seriously or you might have to break your keyboard.
Lost Records Bloom and Rage is a narrative choice-based adventure game from the creators of the original two Life is Strange titles. Its core premise involves you navigating its two timelines of 1995 and 2022, the former of which intends to evoke a feeling of 90s nostalgia for its music and a fully functional camcorder. Don't Nod are famous for their richly interactive and detailed environments, and Lost Records seems to be no exception.
Arc Raiders is the latest multiplayer title from the developers of the finals, this time in the form of an extraction shooter. I know that's a pretty oversaturated genre at this point, but the gameplay shown so far has been promising. This type of game is known for being pretty unforgiving and definitely isn't for everyone, but I'd be lying if I didn't say it looks absolutely incredible so far. So I think I'll at least give it a try when it releases sometime this year.
Now for a much less serious game, and that is the upcoming title from the developers of Untitled Goose Game, Big Walk. It's a very odd looking co-op experience where you and your friends traverse realistic environments as colourful characters composed of simple shapes. It seems the goal of this adventure is simply to have a good time with your friends, whether that's by stealing their stuff and kicking it into the ocean, or just enjoying a sunset hike, and that's something I can get behind.
Wanderstop is a narrative cozy game about making tea while trying to change as a person. If that sounds like a bizarre concept, you probably won't be surprised to learn that this comes to us from the creator of the Stanley Parable. For some context, you play as a former tournament fighter who really doesn't want to be farming and making tea. Its very existence as a game is due to its creator's burnout and looks to be very relatable for anyone who's ever felt the same. If you'd like to explore your sense of self while making tea, Wanderstop releases on the 11th of March.
Revenge of the Savage Planet is a sequel to the 2020 comedic adventure game, where you attempted to survey the titular savage planet to determine whether or not it was safe for humans. The sequel sees you abandoned on this planet and attempting to get revenge on a corporation that sent you there. This new entry in the series features the return of co-op, but a switch to a third-person perspective and 4 unique planets to explore. It already seems like a pretty different experience to the original, but we'll find out for sure when it releases this May.
Skate is the unnumbered follow-up to the now nearly 15-year-old classic that was Skate 3. Information on this title has been pretty sparse, but we know it takes place in St. Amsterdam, supports multiplayer, features character and level creation, and is planning for a free-to-play early access release in 2025. It's been a long time since it was originally announced as Skate 4 back in 2020, but it seems we'll finally be getting our hands on it in the near future.
Make sure to subscribe to keep up to date on all of these games, and let us know in the comments which you're most excited for.
Thank you for watching, see you next time.